Welcome to Gun Owners of America's State of the Second podcast. My name is John.
And I'm Kailey. And today we have Nathan and we have John from Nine Line Apparel. Welcome, guys, to the show.
Hey, how are you?
Awesome to be here.
Esley, thank you for having us, for sure.
It is our pleasure. So a lot of people may not know this, but Nine Line has been a partner of GOA for a long time.
Long time.
2020,
Yeah.
I
So
believe.
yeah, you guys were one of the first official partners of GOA, and since then we've launched an entire wholesale program with you guys. So if you see our shirts in a gun store arranged near you, these are the guys that made it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. It was your brainchild, though, so.
Well, yeah, I am known for a couple of good ideas.
Yeah, you had
once in a while.
phenomenal idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Who knew? People needed clothes. It's
Right?
just dropped out of the
dropped
sky.
out of the sky, clothes, put a design on it. All right.
Well,
Yeah.
you just don't wear industry t-shirts everywhere?
I mean, we are the industry.
Okay.
Like, we count.
Good.
Yeah. You got to wear your own stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, for those that might not be familiar with Nine Line, tell us a little bit about the company, how you guys got started.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So, company started really before 2012, but Tyler Merritt, our founder CEO, he was in the Night Stalkers with the 160th helicopter pilot. And when he came back, he had some opportunities to help some friends out who had some medical needs and some just bills that needed to get paid so they could be taken care of. And as a helicopter pilot, his job, a big part of it, was answering a 9-line call, right? Which is essentially the 9 steps that it takes to go from getting in that helicopter to rescuing that soldier. So that was a big part of his job. So when he came back, he wanted to keep doing that. So created the 9-line drop line that's everybody recognizes now, put it on a shirt, put it on a web store, and people bought it. And he was able to raise enough money to actually outfit his buddy's house. And so it kind of became this thing where it was like, hey, there's this veteran in need. And Tyler's just always been that guy. Like, he'll just show up with people. Like, he's just an awesome guy. So, you know, and that's expanded into not only helping like homeless veterans. We build these tiny home villages. We've got a couple of them now, which is really cool because we're able to get these guys not just a place to live, but we get them plugged into a community. We give them actual training and like help them better themselves and find themselves and their new identity, because that's a big struggle, right? So Nine Line is kind of that conduit where we give patriotic Americans, whether they served or just appreciate those that did, kind of that common ground where we can support one another and we can wear what we think, like you said, Kailey. Yeah. So it's been an awesome ride, and to be the type of company we are, where we have grown the way we have without ever selling out, says a lot about Tyler's leadership too. So that's really how I got started in his garage, just printing out some shirts to help out some guys he knew. And then that turned into Nineline Apparel and Nineline Foundation, which the foundation runs, you know, all the villages and tiny homes. And we do these big fundraisers and get to hang out with a lot of fun, cool people and have a really good time doing it. And we get to, you know, work with awesome places like GOA and, you know, get to bring these really cool companies and communities and nonprofits that we believe in and be able to support them with some cool merch, right? So like our t-shirts, our hats, our hoodies, these things are kind of like our shovels, right? It's what we use to accomplish a greater mission. And that could be anything from like we just did this Maui Strong shirt, right? We just dropped everything, saw what was happening over there. We're like, hey, let's put all our effort into this, and we're donating the profit to that.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot more challenging in a different company structure, right? But the way our leadership gauges our success is dependent around those activities. So it's just a little bit of a different mindset. And so like when it comes to even things like sourcing where we get cotton from, we pay a lot of money to isotopically test our garments to make sure they're not coming from like Xinjiang, China, where they're literally using slaves to create an unfair marketplace, right? Which, come to find out, I mean, if you don't have to pay for labor, your margin gets incredible.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Good profit.
Yeah. So, you know, just making choices like that, that's what really drew me to the company originally a couple years ago. But man, it's such a fun place to be because being privately owned the way we are, being able to pivot the way we do, being able to work with like partners that we just believe in, like y'all, without, concern of kickback or lashing out or something like that. Like we're able to really like support what we believe in. So
Absolutely. You guys have a phenomenal event through the Nine Line Foundation. We've been lucky to have gone to it a few times now. Heroes Weekend. It's in September every year. And you guys really have an incredibly diverse group of people from runners that run the 5K to golfers to people who come to the range day. You guys really run the gamut. How is that reflecting on that company culture that you're talking about, that you can put on an event in Savannah and have thousands of people from all walks of life?
Yeah, that's a really good question because, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, we're very patriotic. We're not necessarily political, right? And what that really looks like is it's appreciating this freedom that we have, because as imperfect as our processes are, as imperfect as our government may seem at times, like the fact that we can even sit in this room, right, and have this conversation with a with a community like yours, like I mean, this is just, it's crazy. This doesn't happen in other countries, right? And so just the idea of supporting our veterans who provided us freedom, right? Like I always like to, instead of saying like, hey, thanks for your service, I say thanks for all the freedom, right? Because that's really where it came from. It was brave men and women who weren't afraid to go to war. And so supporting that cause and supporting those men and women, it's really a universally American idea, right? Whether you're left, right, center, wherever you fall. And so I think the more people get to know us as a company and understand us as a brand, it's very easy to judge any organization by one or two small things here and there, right? And you always have, detractors all over the place, right? But when people get in the circle and they understand what we're really about, I mean, it attracts all types of people. I mean, it's insane the kind of support we get and the celebrities and the folks that come to that event. Just to support what we're doing with these veterans, and they love the flag still. That's, I think people don't realize how popular the American flag really is, and especially right now, people love the fact that we still get to be Americans at the end of the day.
Exactly. And to piggyback what he's saying, like being at Nine Line for the last couple of years, it's like getting the chance to see the brand grow in so many different avenues. It's awesome because it's like people pinhole us in such like hey, you're in this little vacuum. And it's like, we're so much bigger than that. Like, I wish you could just come to the office and see, hey, we're working in this volume in this area, in this area, in this area. And everywhere we go, like, we plant a flag, but we also find a way to help. Like, hey, you're in your area. What do you need from us? Like, how can we help your community? And things like that. And, like, I've seen it firsthand being at Nine Line for a few years. And even connecting with you, like, we connected and we did our thing, and then it's like, hey, I got a friend with a nonprofit over here. How can we help? And it's like it's one of those things where it's like we're always looking to help out wherever we go with our partners, because it's more than that. You know what I mean? And that's one of the coolest things about Nine Line that I love. So.
Yeah. One of the things that kind of blew me away working with you guys is how creative your team is.
Yeah.
You guys really don't pull any punches when it comes to, creating something that is going to have a viral moment.
Yeah.
You guys were all over the news a few years back from your Betsy Ross flag shirt that just took over. Every major news outlet was talking about this company in Savannah, Georgia. How was the craziness of that time, and how do you capitalize on a viral moment like that?
It's wild. I was there. John was not there at the time.
I got to see it.
You got to see it from the outside. Being involved in that, it's insane, because you have this professional athlete, no, not to name names, but doing something really dumb, and on top of that, all we did was literally put the Betsy Ross flag on there and re-educated people. I'm like, it's literally a Betsy Ross flag. Like, there's nothing political about this, and it was you come in the next day and you're like, how many shirts? what's going on? Where's Tyler? Oh, he's on Fox and Friends. What? It's like, okay. The next thing you know, you're downstairs, all hands on deck trying to help out. And then you're like, I got people calling me out of nowhere, wanting to, partner up and do these things. And it just elevated the brand to another level. And you're just thinking oh, it'll get back to normal. And it's just never gotten back to normal. And I love it. It's such a fun ride. But those viral moments really it's fun because we get to see the voice of America.
Mm-hmm.
We get to see the silent majority every day. And it's it's awesome. So when I have friends who don't really know anything about America and they are, sheep and they just listen to massive media, I'm sitting here going, I'm laughing because I'm I get to see it hands on.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And it's really cool.
Yeah. One of the things that's cool about our partnership is I think a lot of people see Gun Owners of America and see GOA and they're like, oh, well, that's just a Republican base camp.
Mm-hmm.
But we're a nonpartisan nonprofit.
Right. Yeah.
We only care about the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
We're a single issue.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, we care about all of your rights, obviously. We'll sue on gun confiscation orders and red flag laws being a Fourth Amendment violation and First Amendment violations and different things like that affect the Second Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
But these are rights that you have whether you choose to exercise them or not. These are natural rights. Your rights are constitutionally protected.
Mm-hmm.
They're not government granted. And these are something that all Americans have.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's been really great to be able to partner with you guys. You guys get it. We've made some really cool things over the years.
Yes. Yeah,
15 or so plus shirts.
Absolutely. The shirt you're wearing, the first design we did, you're wearing right now.
Yeah.
Even to the design what he's wearing. The ATF Save a Pup, it's hilarious, but it's educational.
That's the greatest. This is the greatest shirt because before I worked for GOA, you gave me the patch, and now I have the shirt. This is probably the greatest design I've ever seen.
It's so simple, but so informative.
It's perfect.
And it's what do you mean save a pup? I don't know. Google it. And then you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Really? Yes. Save the dogs.
So when you guys come up with a new design, what does that look like? When has there been designs where you're like, we don't want to go there, but we do, but we don't?
Oh man, yeah.
If you've seen the board,
yeah. So one of the cool things about our whole just the culture of Nine Line, right? It's if you have a great idea for something, bring it up, right? We have meetings every week where we're just throwing around ideas, right? And mapping out hey, here's where we're going in the next 12 months. We have this design board that's on our little project management software. And I mean, there are some incredible designs on there, right? Yeah. And it's just, finding the right partner or timing it the right way. And so we do a lot of custom work too, obviously, what we do for y'all. And we have, so being in Savannah, Georgia, right, we have access to a lot of great artists. And our art team, I'd put them up against anybody. I mean, they are phenomenal, the stuff they come up with. And really, I mean, it's just a lot of it can be, more topically driven. Hey, here's an issue we want to address, or, we're trying to fundraise here, or, here's something that we find interesting or something that reflects our beliefs. And we see hey, here's who our community is. And these are things they will find engaging and want to wear. But a lot of times it's just cool ideas that come up, right? But there are thousands of designs that we probably could never post. But,
they're great ideas.
But that's kind of the creative process, right? You paint and you just see what comes out at the end. But it's phenomenal to see that whole process and to see that when something like Maui happens, we can pivot really quick, and a lot of that is because of our structure. We're every single day we have 2 meetings with every department every single day where we're going over design ideas, what's launching, what's working, problem solving loops and all these different things where everybody's really included in that. And we do have a lot of diversity at Nine Line, right?
Absolutely.
You don't have to, agree with every single thing, right? But at the end of the day, that's what America is, right? And we just want to be a reflection of that. We want to be a reflection of those values for anybody, right? That says, I want my rights protected. I I want to wake up and still like feel that sense of liberty and freedom that my future is dependent on the choices I make, not just what's imposed on me.
What we've had some really great viral quotes from Biden and a few other people over the last couple of years. When those come out, do you guys know like, hey, this one's gonna bite? We're gonna hit that shirt hard, or maybe we should hold off on this one and see if it goes.
Yeah, that's a good question because we do have those discussions quite often. And, you know, at the end of the day, like we don't mind being polarizing, right? But if it's for the right reasons. So, you know, that's why I say we're patriotic, not necessarily political, right? And a lot of times, too, those things are so topically driven that, you know, by the time we get a shirt produced and put out there, he's already said something else. You know what I mean?
Cycle, man,
honestly, it's hard to keep up.
He really it's an everyday.
It's like every day there's more gold, but you know that's kind of the problem with the cycle of it all. There's just so much content of it,
so much stuff.
Yeah, that it's hard to really capitalize on any one of those topics necessarily because the second it comes out, there's something new. Yeah.
You get one moment there's someone getting hit in the face with a tea can, and then the next moment there's something else happening.
Hey, the next day, man.
The very next day there's something else crazy, and you're like, there's a moment where you're like, oh, I want to hit this. Oh, I missed the moment.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And it's crazy because, you know, demand is like that. You know what I mean? And the cool thing about us is we take time and we do the research and we do all that stuff, and we know, hey, if we're going to do this, it's because we want the messaging out there. And we want the person who purchases it to be proud of that. They don't want it just to be like a sweet tea can on the back because it was hot for one moment. You know what I mean? And we want them to wear it forever. And we want them to wear it proudly. And I think that goes back to the whole relentlessly patriotic kind of thing, letting the T-shirt do the talking for you. I mean, I know I have shirts that I got 5 years ago and I still wear today. One, the quality of the shirt is amazing. And then two, it still speaks for me when I don't need to have to speak at all.
And then we got a lot of partners too out there. They can do crazier stuff than we do, right? And so we're like, we'll print that shirt for you, you know. So we still kind of get it out of our system a little bit.
We love co-branding.
Co-branding's great.
So one of the questions that I have for you guys is, you know, you are an integral part of the Second Amendment community, even though you're not in the Second Amendment community, right? So when everything happened with the supply chain and gun stores were out of ammo, when they were out of firearms, you guys kept a lot of doors open. I mean, we were hearing it from people. Walk us through what it was like to be in the COVID era with all of the supply shortages.
It was wild.
Yeah, Nate, what was that like?
Yeah, John was not there.
I get to see all the aftermath.
He gets to see all the aftermath. He literally sees it every day. Like, so we'll get people from that era like, hey, what's up? Let's like do some more work. And John's like, we haven't worked with us since 2020. And they're like, no, we bought some masks from you, but we want to do some shirts now. It's like, cool. But no, that was wild just because of just how the year was. But, you know, another thing, like to piggyback again off of like how Nineline can pivot. Like we went to cloth masks because people just needed something to put on their face, you know, at that time in 2020. And it was wild to just be able to work and get those calls. It was like no one could get, you know, the N95 mask or whatever. And then like Tyler's trying to make his own mask. It's like, what is going on? Are we a medical supply company now? Like, what are we doing? And then it's like, all right, then you get, you know, phone calls from, you know, upstate New York, these, you know, fire departments and EMS people. They just need something to put on their face because they're out. So it's like, I get to help them at that moment. And like, you're doing good, you know, hey, this is just a T-shirt. Like, I don't care. We just need something for our faces because we need to do our jobs. And they're not allowing us to do those jobs unless we have something on our face. And it's like, that made us super happy and proud that we were able to do that. But also the companies that were able to open up, like in Florida early on and in Georgia and stuff like that, they couldn't get any ammo. They couldn't get any guns or because supply chains were so far back. And they're like, hey, Nate, I need a T-shirt. I need a hat. I need something to sell. And so like, you know, getting those testimonies coming back to you makes you feel so good that we're able to keep businesses alive because we had supply, and we're able to print their logo on a T-shirt so people can still come in through their doors and help them keep their doors open.
And it's such an American thing to do too, right? To take something that's adverse, right, like hard time, and turn that into opportunity. Because we still, like, there's several ranges and FFL dealers who before that never even dreamed of doing apparel, right? It's like, here's my customer, this is what they want. And what we found out is that, like, hey, people who, you know, they're loyal to a certain brand, right? Like, they love this firearm. It works for them. It's their everyday carry. They want a shirt that says it too, right? They're proud of those brands and what they stand for. So to get to be a part of that, to facilitate that growth, because, like, you know, a lot of these, you know, firearm companies and bullet manufacturers and, you know, people who make lowers and magazines and the whole gamut, right?
All that stuff,
Apparel is an afterthought. It's a very different thing, right? To create an apparel lifestyle brand versus, you know, creating your physical product, because that's where all their engineering, that's where all their focus goes into. So we're able to kind of fill that gap in for them and help them come up with great designs, help them with distribution. And also there's a lot of risk there too, because going into like box stores and understanding like how UPC codes work. And, you know, this store wants the tag under the arm where this one wants it in the collar. And if you don't send it the right way, you're going to get fined. You know, those kind of things can be a big risk when you have that kind of demand where you're saying, hey, I can't get product A. Maybe I can still engage my customer by offering B and C. And to be able to not only provide that product for them, but show them how to market it, how to merchandise it on the floor, teach them about that demographic and who those customers are, and take our own experience from, you know, merchandising and marketing our own apparel brand to be able to help them understand, hey, these kind of designs and images work really well, right? Like, you might have a saying or a phrase that people really connect with, but how can you bring it to life with a character or an image that says it without saying it, right? Just having those really cool moments where you take somebody's, you know, adversity and you give them an opportunity, and then you see, you know, fast forward 2 or 3 years later, it's a profit center for them.
This episode of State of the Second is brought to you by Cloud Defensive. They care about your Second Amendment right, so much so that they actually refuse to sell their lights to the ATF and other government organizations. Make sure to support someone who supports you by visiting them at clouddefensive.com. So speaking of profit, you know, a lot of people don't realize that, you know, margins vary on firearms and accessories wildly. We've heard from some of the stores that have done the apparel wholesale program and our collaboration talk about how much it's improved their profit margins, and they're able to bring on more staff and things like that. How common is that? And can you kind of speak to how Nine Line is kind of filling a gap? And it can be with the GOA brand or whatever. I mean, Lord knows we're one of your many partners. But you know, how you guys are kind of fortifying the industry in that way.
Yeah, this is a great question. Question. Really, a lot of it comes down to processes too, right? So we want to make things easy. So we develop things like with GOA, right? We have a backdoor website where, so let me back up a little bit. So big box stores, they have an order process that's very fluid, right? It just electronically gets delivered, gets uploaded, boom, seamless, right? And then we're right into production. Well, you know, if you have 5 or 6 locations, or you're a mom and pop FFL, or, you know, you're a little more rural or isolated, a lot of those orders are all manual, right? Like, I'm going to send an email, call my sales rep. Well, if I'm closing down shop at 10 o'clock at night and I'm completely out of shirts, now I've got to remember all the way to the next morning. And if you're a small business owner, like, ordering apparel, that's going to fall to the bottom of the priority list every time. So we do things like, we created a back into our website where it doesn't matter how large or small your store is, you can go on and order and get your wholesale pricing the same way. So we've sped that up, right? But the biggest part of that is, you know, you can make, you know, 40 to 55% margin depending on your volumes. And the way we price out all of our stuff, it's all based off of our cost, right? So we can do things like volume discounts, and it's not just, hey, I need you to purchase this many shirts to get this discount, right? We say, here's how you can sell this many shirts, right? We're going to actually support you and understand that, you know, a husband and wife and their kids running a shop somewhere isn't going to have a whole lot of time to figure all of this out. They still want to capitalize on the opportunity, right? To make a much larger margin, you know, maybe a smaller dollar amount overall for the sale, but bigger volumes and bigger margins creates a big opportunity too, but only to the extent that you understand how to make that work, right? So, you know, whether it's, you know, helping them understand marketing, right? Or just how to get the word out there that they're a Nine Line Apparel dealer, or they've got their GOA hats and shirts in there. Because it's the same way, right? Like if their customers are members of GOA, they want to support that and wear that, right? They want people to understand that message when they go out into public. And the mistake I see a lot in the apparel industry is I want to buy the thing that's the least expensive. And what you run into that is, hey, I've spent, you know, maybe my marketing budget's $50,000, right? Well, I only spent $20,000. I saved $30,000. But if that $20,000 you spent is on a cardboard shirt that somebody's just going to cut the sleeves off of and mow their grass on Saturday, you didn't accomplish anything, right? You might as well just lit that money on fire. But if you create a meaningful design that actually connects that messaging with your overall brand and it's on a quality shirt, well, guess what? Now, when me and my wife go to the range on Thursday night, that's the shirts we're wearing, right? And it's going to speak to that audience and speak to that community. And so we're able to help people understand the value in it, but also the importance of how to position that. So we've kind of found that unique little niche there where we have individual account managers, and we have like Nate, who's a senior account manager, trains other account managers, and we have a structure to where you can connect with a real person whenever you need them, right? It's not going to, you know, take you 3 months to get in line. We're going to take care of you right away. So having a value for that individual, I think, is a little different perspective for us because we see that opportunity for them, and we see that, you know, a lot of them don't know how to make it work on the front end. So it's much bigger than I'm going to sell you something one time and make the biggest margin I can. I want to get you to that spot where you're making the most margin that you can, right? And a lot of that just comes with training our customers and helping them understand there's a lot of value in this. Yes, you know guns, you know bullets, you know all of this tactical stuff. But your customers also wear T-shirts. You know what I mean? They wear hats.
They wear hats,
right?
jackets.
At least we
hoodies.
hope they do.
All that
you never
stuff.
know.
Yeah,
I've been to some
shoes,
range
no
days.
shirts,
Yeah.
no service.
I mean, I prefer to wear a shirt when I go to the range. Brass is hot.
It
Yeah.
is.
it is.
Yeah.
And no
After
V-necks.
a few long tits. Ooh,
That if somebody wants to become a dealer or order through you, what are the processes to become a dealer? A and B. Do you guys go through any of the buy groups or anything like that as well?
Well, it's a very simple 9 rounds of bare knuckle boxing with
we
one
gotta
of
make
our
sure they're
top
legit.
special forces guys.
100%.
So you beat them, you get to become a dealer.
So Kailey, you be a special forces guy?
Oh yeah, Kailey.
Yeah, she beat.
Kaylee's.
It was like it was a first round knockout.
I believe that.
I was
No
putting
contest.
money down. I was
Yeah.
like against her, and I was like, oh shoot.
I mean, people
Tiny
were
but
crying.
mighty.
The violence was
We're
almost
talking about
unbearable.
like Superman punch first, like straight into it.
Yeah, all 5
I was like,
feet.
oh, it was awesome. So I was like, she's definitely working with
Is
her.
there video footage somewhere?
Closed caption. So
Okay.
yeah,
Oh,
I'll
okay.
show you later.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
No, it's actually pretty simple. So, I mean, you can reach out to us anyway. I mean, if you email sales@ninelineapparel.com, we'll get you
They'll
taken
get
care
you,
of.
yeah.
You can go on our website. There's, probably 15 different ways
there's
to
so
get in
many
touch with
ways,
us through that. We have, physical stores as well. We got about 6 locations now, and our big ones at Fort Argyle and Savannah, right off of 95, right there. We got a little Black Rifle coffee shop, and
It's a good spot.
yeah. So, but honestly, the easiest way, like if somebody's listening to this and they're like, "Hey, I want to become a dealer,"
Yeah.
email us at sales@ninelineapparel.com. I'm going to see that myself as well. And then what we'll do is we may ask you a couple questions just to make sure we pair you with the right account manager, right? So everybody has different interests, right, and different experiences. So we try to hire a very diverse group in our sales team. And so, we've got pretty much somebody for everyone.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So I'll become matchmaker, right? Yeah.
It's
There we
like-
go.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, we're building relationships and friendships too. So like, Kailey and I have been friends since 2020, and it's like it's built more than just, hey, let's work together professionally, but it's like this is like I'm your friend. I love your journey in life, and like
It's fun.
It's fun, and it's like
Yeah.
that's the cool thing about Nineline is like we care, and we're gonna consult, and we're gonna be your friend. Like even if we're not even working together, like we'll go out to SHOT Show, and like we'll hang out. And we'll do, and then I'll connect her with somebody that I think will be cool for her, and she'll be like, "All right, cool. Let me, let you meet my friends," and it's just a cool circle to be around.
Yeah.
And we love making friends and doing cool stuff.
And we're good
with
at having
friends.
fun.
Yeah, we love
We have
having
a very
fun.
good time.
I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, this is good.
So I've got it. Being a t-shirt designer, sometimes you like to push the envelope on some as close to copyright as possible on some things. What is the best cease and desist letter you've gotten?
Oh my god!
Or are they hung up somewhere as well?
We do have a
them.
file folder.
Yeah, we file them.
Honestly, I wish they would step up the game a little bit because they're always just the same generic letter. You know what I mean? It's like I'm kind of hoping for that day where somebody puts a little mustard on it. You know what I mean?
Well, spice
A
it his
little
own.
sauce. Yeah. Like, call us some names.
Yeah, I was like, don't give us the generic. Like you Googled this. I want your heart and soul in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but we've got them. We got them.
What's the biggest company you're like, oh, they know who we are? We got a letter from them. Can you say?
I don't get them. So
I would
John's probably
say
seen that, yeah.
there's one who their biggest mascot is a mouse. They tend to not be our biggest fan.
Yeah.
But that's fun.
Yeah,
It's
pretty
all good.
big.
So one of the things that is really cool about Nineline is, and I think what you've done with culture is you've taken somebody who's traditionally been labeled the silent majority, and you've given them a voice through apparel.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they're really, in a lot of cases, wearing their heart on their sleeve. And so how has that been to know that you're kind of a part of this culture changing movement where you're not just wearing like your youth group t-shirt or, like the coffee shop down the road's apparel. Like, I mean, it's incredible to go into places like Rural King and, others and just see, here's Nineline.
The brand inside.
And you guys have created such dominance in that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's a good point, too, because getting to see big box retailers like Bass Pro Shop and Dunham's and Shields and Murdoch's and Sportsman's Warehouse and Rural King and Tractor Supply and all these big companies who share the same values as us, right? And you don't always get to see that.
Don't see that, yeah.
Right? You don't always get to, a retail store's product mix very rarely tells their values, right? So we kind of offer them that opportunity to say, this is where we stand. We believe in America. We still believe in this incredible experiment, and we're going to support companies that support our veterans and aren't afraid to make silly shirts or serious shirts, things that actually tell that story. But I'll tell you, for me personally, it has been incredible to meet the people who wear our shirts.
Yes,
because they have stories. Like, I have met some of the most heroic, badass human beings I have ever met in my entire life in the 2 years I've been at Nineline. And just getting to hear their stories, first of all, it makes me feel like, oh, I have accomplished nothing with my life.
That's cool.
Yeah, but it's just, it's incredible to get to see what human beings are capable of and the type of courage that people have. And a lot of times, something as simple as wearing a Nineline shirt with our flag sleeve or, our logos on it is an expression of that courage, right? And to see how many people visit our site every month and come into our stores and they tell us what a difference a design on a t-shirt made for them, right? And how excited they are to wear it and how much they love what we stand for, or they benefited from a foundation that we don't have a ton of money to just, give out, right? But what we do have is we have resources and we have an experience in the industry. So for foundations, like we're doing a big launch to raise money for breast cancer awareness, where we're going to, benefit a couple of huge breast cancer research funding organizations for the 9/11 memorial. we raise money for that. When natural disasters happen, like the tornadoes in Kentucky or Florida, right?
Yeah.
Like we're able to step into that space, even to the extent of like when the Ukraine war broke out, right? Like being able to do actionable things to help orphans get out of a war zone. Those things that are, you know, I think most people would look at that and go, yeah, those are important to do. But then to actually be able to organize and execute around that, and then to see how many of our fans and friends just like get immediately behind that, it's incredible. It really is. But it's very different than if you're just making a cool shirt to make a cool shirt, right? That somebody's like, oh, I like that. But getting to actually hear those stories and understand where, you know, where these veterans, where these individuals came from, to hear about their parents or their dad or their grandfather, and why this flag means something to them, it changes your whole perspective. I know I had a much more limited perspective of this country we live in prior to coming to work here, right? But I knew, you know, when all the COVID stuff happened, that's actually how I ended up here, because I was working at a company that did not share the values that I had. And that was the number one thing. I sat in that interview with Tyler and I was like, hey, we can clear some things up real quick. I need to know, where do you stand on these things? And he was like, hey, be you, man. Like,
nice.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh, okay, this is cool.
Yep. Yeah. For me, I've seen it grow drastically from 2018 to now, as in, I think the biggest proponent, and this is weird, but I'm shouting out Cool Patch Pumpkins in California. It's the world's largest corn maze. Love you, Matt Cooley. He put a 9-line drop line in his corn maze this year.
Wow.
Look it up. Nine-line drop line. Go to our Instagram or his Cool Patch Pumpkins. Like, that's awesome, and it's in literally California. Like,
and it's like an HD design in a corn maze. It's nuts what he did.
So it's like,
I don't know how you did it,
to
man.
see him boldly do something like that in the middle of liberal California is huge. And it's like,
awesome.
This guy's awesome. He's been a partner of ours and a customer of ours since 2018. And he's like, you know what? I'm putting the drop line here because it means so much. And we've done fundraisers for him, for his local community as well. There was a police officer, I believe, who got shot in his local area. He fundraised stuff for his family. So, like, this guy's doing the 9-line too. Like, he's answering the call for the local people as well. But, you know, what he talked about, like, just seeing it expand and seeing it grow. And I'm humbled every week because I'll get a leader, I'll get to meet somebody, and I'm like, you know, we sit in our own lane and we forget sometimes about around us. So I'm humbled every week to get an email or to get a call, and they're like, dude, like, you guys did this, or this is how much the flag means to me, or shaking hands with people who actually did it. It is humbling, and I'm super gratuitous to be at a cool brand and a great workplace and have a cool boss like this guy.
Hey.
So
And it's awesome to get to see like how we've gotten to watch Gun Owners of America grow. Yeah. Right? Like, that's how we choose our partners. It's more so around values, right? We can help people grow an apparel brand. It's just figuring out if it's the right fit, you know? So it's so cool to get to see, like, what y'all are doing grow and get more and more support, right? So we get to be like this little piece of the puzzle, so where we can kind of, you know, feel like we got some of that success too.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, watching people grow is super fun for me. And knowing that I was able to help consult and then continue it growing and then see how they're doing their own thing with the growth. It's just really cool. Yeah.
You guys carry the whole line or design the whole line for GOA. We work really closely on designs. We've got some cool stuff coming.
Yeah, you do.
Sure do.
Kailey, can we hit on what we got coming or what is
so we can give a little tease.
I mean, all depends on when this episode falls.
Well,
sure, it could be out.
There may be something with the blaster.
Who's to say?
Yeah.
Who's to say?
I mean,
could be blasters.
Ooh, it could be blasters. It could be plastic. It could be
fantastic. Even
it could be like nuclear
iconic.
Yeah, I mean, it could have some moments.
Yeah.
Some Minuteman moments.
Good plug.
Subscribe to GOA's Minuteman Moments. Nice plug of our own
Yeah.
show.
You nailed
Yeah,
that.
why not just plug it right away?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You know, you guys do our shirts, you do our hats, you do our patches.
Mhm.
What is your favorite of all the stuff we've designed over the years?
For me, honestly, it's the GOA hat.
Yeah,
It's such a strong, like, just
everybody
logo
wanted it,
on the
yeah.
front, and with we do the little embroidered flag on the side.
Yeah.
It's just, and we take the little ball off the top, so it's good for like ear pro,
Yes.
and it's just kind of like the perfect.
Yeah.
It's in the details.
It's in the
Yeah,
details.
it feels
Yeah.
like the perfect product for GOA. Like that
Absolutely.
GOA hat. Like when we go to events and stuff, like SHOT Show, and y'all have got. It doesn't matter. Like you could bring like 100,000 of those hats, and they're going to be
They're gonna
gone
be gone.
immediately.
Yeah, that was the
And then you
idea
see
behind it.
everybody like walking around, like wearing them to the
Where'd you
parties
get
and
the
stuff afterward. Like
GOA?
that. So for me, I mean, that's pretty cool. And then we've done some
And
really
it's the
cool
repeat
T-shirts
seeing it. It's not just
Yeah.
SHOT Show that week. You see it all the time.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, at like
Yeah.
random range days that we go to,
Yeah,
where
you're-
like y'all
you're
aren't
done
even
over
there,
there.
and
Good for
like
you.
Yeah.
there's people wearing GOA hats.
We see
Yeah.
it in content creators
Mm-hmm.
stuff as well. And it's like, oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how important is content creators to your all's marketing plan? I'm sure a lot of people see your stuff on tons of shows.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So how does that kind of work, and how do you integrate content creators into your all's
Yeah,
brand?
so we've got this really cool dude named Matt Lyda, who's our president of business
Mm-hmm.
development, and he's probably just one of the coolest human beings ever. Like
Yep.
he's the best human being I've ever seen at making friends. So
Professional friend maker.
he is a professional friend maker.
He's very
So
good at it.
we've been able to work with people like Mark Calloway, who's been a huge supporter of the Nine Line Foundation and our mission, and he's the Undertaker.
Yeah,
for
so if you know what
everybody.
that is, it's Undertaker.
But everything from doing stuff with him to
The Burtons,
the
Burton
Burtons,
Foundation,
yeah.
Duck Dynasty people. I mean, we're in different avenues because of Matt and like what he does. It's awesome, and it broadens up our reach because of these people, and it's cool too because it's like the Undertaker or Mark for such a long time couldn't voice his opinion and do that, and then one day he's wearing Nine Line all the time, and you're like, this guy loves America.
Yeah,
Then
he
we-
just
then you
wore
get
it to the Dallas's stadium,
Yeah.
like for a major event, and we're like,
cool. Thanks.
that's our flag sleeve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what he wears because it's his voice as well, like we talked about earlier.
And he just does it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
here's
Like
my-
that's his thing.
Here's
Yeah.
my question:
Sure.
which one of you got chokeslammed by the Undertaker?
Neither,
I would,
thankfully.
I would,
Yeah,
Come
in
on,
a heartbeat, be chokeslammed
I would not.
and pow drive.
Not by that man. There's
Why
not
not?
enough whiskey in the world.
I'll be fine.
I mean,
I already have concussions.
that's
so
my
I'm good.
childhood.
But
Like,
bro, he's a
He's
monster.
oh yeah,
crazy.
no, we were.
I first met him,
Yeah.
I just like, kept going.
Yeah.
I ran
So-
into him at the Gundies,
Yep.
and
so,
he was standing next to me, and I was just sitting there, kind of like, oh my god, this is my childhood.
It's crazy,
This is
right?
the guy who we
Yeah.
emulated in the backyard,
Yeah.
and he shares the same values as me, and he's a cool gun guy. And I just looked at him, and he goes, "Hey, is this the shooting play?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah.
He didn't even say a word. I'm
Yeah.
just sitting there so nervous. I'm like,
It's
Yeah.
extremely hard not to ask him about everything
Oh,
you've
yeah.
seen from the age of the Attitude Era
Yeah.
to like when he retired. You're just like, hey, you remember that thing when you did that thing? And you're like, I can't ask him that. Stupid.
I mean, but they're being really open about that stuff now.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
It's
oh,
really
yeah.
cool.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
really cool to see that. Yeah.
And he's such a humble guy.
Very
And
humble.
that's kind of the cool thing too about getting to work with a lot of these celebrities and influencers is you get to see like the real person behind it.
Mhm.
And that's important to us. We care a lot about people's values. It's not just about like, how many followers you have.
Mhm.
Because we'll see something cool. Somebody does some interesting reels and we might reach out to them, have a conversation. And that's really what we're trying to figure out. Like, is this somebody that we're really going to be able to be friends with and have a long-term relationship with? And the influencers, the people we work with,
Yeah.
they're some of the coolest human beings I've ever met. So
Yep. But back to your question, though. My favorite design that we've done, probably the Stamp Act design that we did last
Oh,
year.
that was
the
a good one.
T-shirt,
Yeah.
yeah.
because it's so cool.
A
'Cause it
right
looks-
delayed is a right
A
denied.
right, yeah, exactly. And it
Mm.
looks just like the Stamp Act that they, the
Yeah.
tax that they make people pay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
NFA
and
tax.
yeah, exactly. And then we just threw your logo just subtly inside of it. And it's
Yeah.
like, wow, what a cool freaking design. So if you're hearing this and you can't find it online, it
Yeah,
was only a limited time design.
it
that
is
we did.
our 2023 patch.
It's your 2023
I
patch.
don't know how many
I
we
don't think
have
you have
left.
enough left. Yeah.
So this is what's on our website is on our
Yeah.
website. And
Yeah.
the thing about our year patches, I have
They
people
run
all
out.
the time reach out and they're like, oh my gosh, I lost my 2020 patch or my 2022 patch. Can I have another one? And I'm like, when they're off the website, they're gone.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we
feel
order a pretty hefty amount.
Yeah. So when they go, they
No
go.
doubt.
But when they're gone, they're
Yeah.
gone. And
Yep.
2024's patch is looking really great.
I'm excited to see
Yeah.
it.
And
We're gonna get it going.
It's gonna be fun.
I want to. Can we do 2025, 5 years, and do a reorder and just make it a package? And then everyone get 5-year reorder.
Huh?
Like,
That's
hey,
smart.
you get 5 years of this. You got to order. That's it. We're only doing.
Yeah, that'd
I
be cool.
don't know.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
It would be cool.
It may end up
But-
on eBay. I mean,
It
It
definitely-
would definitely end up on eBay.
Everything ends up on eBay, man.
we,
Yeah. But
when
no.
we paused, we talked briefly about like the black market of patches. I bet you,
There
you could
is-
find, just go, hey, check eBay
Yeah.
and find someone.
Yeah.
But it's incredibly cool to see when you go to SHOT Show and like people get the cool patches and then like they hold on to it for years and the value in that patch, it's insane. The subculture in the patch world is insane. And so like for us, when we come up with an idea for SHOT Show, I have to come up with like a really good, we have to come up with something really unique. Can't just be generic. And so like that goes back to our amazing team and our graphics design artists and how they think outside the box. Because your patch is not on the only patch I'm also making. I'm making some for other partners as well.
Yeah.
But ours is the best,
Yours
right?
is definitely the best.
Hands down.
A close second would be the Chameleon from Faxon.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the old Fax
Oh,
Chameleon.
yeah.
And they were
Yeah.
like 200. And those things went down, gone the first 40 minutes of
Oh,
SHOT Show.
I'm so
gosh.
glad I got one.
I bet that's probably like
That thing's probably
that's
expensive.
that's
Yeah.
expensive on the black market.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah. So that was a really cool one. So
That reminds
that's one that pops in my head. Then I got one from Black Aces Tactical once. And it's the poop dude and he's tactical and it says shit show.
Oh yeah,
Instead
yeah,
of-
for
instead
sure.
of shot. And it's just funny. So I
Yeah.
thought, yeah, that was a good one. Another you're wearing one of my favorite designs. It's so subtle and it's so simple, but the messaging is hilarious. And it says, save a pup. And it's like you see that, it's what's that mean? Or if you do know what it means, you just laugh out loud.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious. But it's one of your top designs right now, and we have it on 3 different colors. And I just literally y'all just did a reorder of it because people can't get enough of it.
No, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. The Save a Pup, it started with the patch.
Mhm.
The patch sold out so many times.
Mhm.
We did the shirt, and it's always performed at the top. The other shirt that kind of surprised me at how well it's done is the Evolving Against Tyranny shirt.
Yes, that
Oh,
shirt is
yeah.
awesome.
That
Such a cool shirt.
Such a cool shirt.
That shirt was great, and it's still available at gun stores.
Yep.
Yep.
And through the wholesale program.
Wholesale program. Yep.
If you're listening and you see a design, I think they're going to be putting them on the screen as we talked about them, just for people to see. Just because a shirt that we're talking about, unless we've said it's an LTD and it's not on our website, it's because it's in our wholesale program.
Yes.
We do not compete with our stores that sell the GOA line, and so you won't see it on our website, but it is definitely available. And if your store doesn't have it, you should tell
request
them.
for it. Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
You should tell them, hey, this is something we want.
Mhm.
But we don't compete with our stores. So I'm just making sure everyone knows. If they want the Evolving Against Tyranny shirt and they don't see it, that's where you get it.
Yeah, so LTDs, limited time
LTD.
designs. Yeah. And that's how some of our best designs get
sellers,
started, right? So we can test something out, and we do that for our partners as well. Like we do that with y'all too. So like if we have an LTD and people are calling for it and they're calling for it, they're like, how do we get this shirt? We can always run it back. If
Always
it
run it
comes
back.
down,
I
it might
mean-
take a little planning, but
Yeah.
Could we do, and I'm just like spitballing ideas. I mean, Mando Minuteman for the 4th.
You have to be careful though with the likeness of that for
I mean,
sure.
we could
Yeah.
just.
I mean-
we can mess with something.
and you just put "This is the way"
Yeah.
or something like that.
Weapons are definitely
Our religion.
This is the
part
GOA.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you to the GOA
Thank
think
you for
tank
the
if you're
GOA
listening.
for bringing that
We
part.
went into industries and now we're talking think tank. So
Yeah.
No, that's
This is what we do.
this is what we
This
do.
is
This
Yeah.
is literally
Yeah.
what we do every day at Nineline. Like when we're not like working on things, stuff like that, we'll sit at the table in the
Yep.
middle of the lunch area and have lunch and just talk ideas and like,
Yep.
oh, that's
Yeah.
a great idea. Let's run it by.
Right after
I
we
mean-
review the food truck that came that
Yeah,
day.
yeah. The food truck
Yeah.
is very important. They're very important.
Flaco Taco.
Oh, Flacos. What? Shout out, free shout out
man.
for Flacos. If you're in
Yeah.
Savannah, Georgia,
Listen,
stop
Flacos.
in at
never had
Flacos.
Flaco's Tacos.
No,
Oh man,
It's
Oh.
so good.
It's so good.
bro.
man.
We'll have to.
They
bitch.
he was my introduction. And I
Yes.
think I have introduced probably 14, 15 people.
every time. So good.
Like-
So, for those of you listening to the podcast, I'm very sorry that you want tacos now.
Yeah.
Kaylee
I
does
hope
that.
it's Tuesday if you're listening to it.
Yeah.
Kaylee does that to you. She calls me. Kaylee and I will call each other, and she'll be like, "Okay, I'm at so and so place." Later that night, I text her. Guess what I got for dinner? Because she's like, "Oh, I went to Culver's." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Food is
then-
important to me.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a
Absolutely.
love
It's
language.
it's
Yeah.
very important to me.
Mm-hmm. It's hands down my favorite thing to do.
We're foodies.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
What?
Some flagging you. He's
Yeah,
like, he's like,
just-
probably like, got it.
No,
All right, we're talking about LTDs.
we were talking about food. I mean, this is
Food,
great.
yeah.
How things become.
How things
like,
become,
design.
whatever,
Yeah. I mean, we've wrapped it all together in a nice package with a bow on top.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So one of the things that I do want to kind of mention. So one of our partners is Chameleon Bags. I know that
Ooh.
they also do the 9-line bags. It's really been fun to
Oh, yeah.
see the people that we are working with constantly also be so integral to your brand
Yeah.
and growing
Yeah.
that lifestyle. What is the coolest collaboration as far as like new products that you
Oh,
think
man.
you've done in the last, couple years?
Gosh, there's a lot of
Ooh.
them.
Yeah.
Everything from the coolers.
What was
I mean, our sunglasses
Our
that we
sunglasses
collabed with
are cool.
Redfin.
Redfin made our sunglasses.
Yeah, Hunter Johnson over Redfin
Yeah.
made.
what he's wearing?
Oh,
right
these.
here.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
what? Who knew?
Who knew?
There we go.
Product
we really wear them all the
placement.
time. Yeah. This is like the prototype, but these things are incredible. That's pretty cool. Our button downs are fun. We've gotten to do a lot of
wear one,
really
but I
cool,
didn't,
like little button downs. We could take like a little 4x4 square and just kind of repeat it across the shirt.
Yeah.
Those have been a lot of fun. But I mean, there's so many crazy designs that we've come up with over like several years with our product
Yeah.
partners that like right now we've got one with Zero FG energy drink and it's like Einstein with a giant
With a giant
flamethrower
flamethrower.
and like it says like Zero
awesome.
FG and the
In
flames coming
yeah.
out
It's really cool.
and they got another cool one coming too. So it's just, it's a lot of the t-shirt designs are cool, but product wise, man, we've gotten to partner with Ice Shaker and Big Frig and Chameleon Bags.
Chameleon.
I mean, they make some incredible concealed carry purses, and it's a valuable item, but their pricing is incredible too.
Yeah.
So they make it, something important like a concealed carry purse, right? Which would have a lot of demand, especially, if you want to go to the range and you don't want to look like you're, carrying around your whole kit,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
And to make it accessible to everybody with a really quality bag. So, I mean, there's cool partners like that all over the place that we've worked with.
And
but,
there's still potential for so many other partners too.
Yeah.
Like with products
That's right.
throughout the industry. And I feel like every SHOT Show, every time we go to a show or something like that, we make new friends and they have really cool stuff. And they're like, hey, we could throw your logo on there. And I'm like, can you?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
really fun. So like,
and one collab we did too was with Black Rifle Coffee.
Yeah, I was gonna say
They make
Black Rifle.
they make this Night Stalker coffee blend that helps us actually support the Night Stalker Foundation,
Oh,
which
cool.
is pretty
yeah.
yeah.
Yep, they're doing that. I mean,
And it's delicious coffee.
delicious coffee. Even like partnering up in giveaways. That's cool.
Oh,
like,
Yeah.
bringing people together, like large brands
That's right.
and even smaller brands, and like getting everybody to collab on one big, really cool, awesome giveaway.
Yeah.
Like one of the coolest ones I've been around was the man cave one, and we gave away the golden tea. That thing was cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like
yeah.
who like Golden Tea was like, yeah, we love you guys. We're gonna work with you. And like Golden Tea, like
Like the video game?
The video game? And I was like, it was awesome.
I would have loved to win that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I couldn't
Yeah.
even participate because I work, for Nineline. I was like, dang, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's every single time we do a giveaway. I'm like, oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But I work here.
I think working on individual projects for people, we have a lot of products, but like when someone comes to me and they're like, I have a demand for this, I love figuring out how to bring that to them and help them out in that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even though we might not carry it, I know who to go to at Nineline to ask questions, and they're like, hey, let's figure that out. And like I just did socks last year for remember that cable company that has a military division, and I didn't know they had a military division. It's part of one of their sub divisions, and they bring on vets and they train them up and stuff like that. And we did a whole like sock line. Never done socks.
Yep.
Didn't know how to do it, and like now I know how to who to talk to make socks. So if you're listening to this, you want some cool socks, hit us up. That's right. But they're able to take their logo and stuff like that and make some really cool premium socks for their military people. They were just giving away for free at a conference. Yeah. And I was like, that's awesome. And like they hit me up again. They're like, hey, can you do some really cool laptop bags? I'm like, I don't make them, but I can find somebody.
Right.
So it's like it's really cool to it's never a boring week at work.
No, every minute is
minute is something new, and a lot of it's like, hey, I love your product. Oh, like our SFG line. Oh yeah, everybody loves that, and they want their own version of it. And so it's like that demand has actually created another space for us on the custom side of things, especially like springtime, summertime, wearing those dry fits like that. People love those style of like polyester the hooded lightweight stuff you throw on when you're at the beach or whatever. Like, that's right. Yeah. We have that, and we developed that through partnerships.
Yeah. Well, honestly, our biggest partnership is probably Bella Canvas.
I would say biggest.
I mean, to see a company that size look at our values and what we care about, and I mean, at the end of the day, like we wouldn't be able to say, hey, our stuff is ethically sourced if we didn't have a really good partner to help us accomplish that mission, right? To come alongside us and test our stuff. We know where it came from. Like our labeling is actually correct. To have something like that in your back pocket is incredible, and to get the support from them when we step out and we're saying, hey, there are companies actively buying cotton knowingly from Xinjiang, China, and there are slaves making this cotton, and they're creating a unfair competitive advantage. Right? A company our size would never be able to pull that off on our own. Like we would get stomped out quick. Yeah. But we also have Tyler Merritt who gets, don't underestimate that man.
Oh yeah.
But to have a partner like Bella Canvas who comes alongside us and says, hey, you know what? We do ethically source our stuff, and we can provide it to you.
And they have amazing products.
But it's awesome because we get to have that confidence every time I sell a shirt. I know that this is actually coming from a manufacturer that pays a living wage, right? That isn't chaining their slaves to a desk, and if they don't produce enough, they kill those people. Yeah, that's a real thing happening in today's world, right? Like slavery is very, very real. So to see a company that is one of the largest T-shirt manufacturers in the world, get behind that kind of commitment, it gives you a little hope, right? It gives you some hope for the future. It you start to believe again, like, hey, there are some powerful people who actually do care and will do the right thing.
And it really shows that Nineline is not a two-dimensional, organization at all. You guys are very dynamic, and you're very self-aware of not only what's going on in the world, but how you impact it. Oh. And it makes it worth it. And we've been a proud partner for a long time, but what we continue to be because of that.
Yeah.
Being such a large company, and we talked to EOTech about this as well. Being such a large company, there's a chance that someone's going to fake your product. Oh, has this happened, and how do you guys combat that?
We could probably Google search it right now. Well, one of the cool things about Nineline is we attract very talented people in their professions, like our chief production officer, like the guy who runs all of our digital marketing stuff. Like these are guys that I look at them like, why are you working with us? Like,
how'd we get you?
Yeah. So I mean, we have technology that is pretty phenomenal. So we're able to track those things down real quick,
real fast. And
and shut it down.
On my social feed, like I have friends from different background, like they have no clue what we do. So when they see stuff like us going on Fox and it's like, here we go, another thing, like they think it's like all for profit.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we're actually out trying to be vocal about this and stuff like that. And they're like, well, just Nineline being Nineline. It's like, no, man, like I wish you knew the information we knew.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about how do we track down those? Yeah. So when all that was happening, there was actually pushes to like duplicate our website to try to siphon off our visitors, to try to kill our company. Very real. But once again, don't underestimate us.
Yeah, we got people.
Yeah, we got folks.
They're well connected.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
He knows a guy.
Yeah, we got an Australian.
He's awesome.
He is.
Yeah.
He's terrifying though.
He's a monster.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He's yoked now.
Oh yeah. If you haven't seen Damon in a while.
You haven't seen Damon in a while. He's walking through the office looking like a silverback gorilla. And I'm like, I'm afraid to talk to you.
The last time that I was there in the office is right when he broke like a whole bunch of bones, like arm wrestling.
He broke.
Destroyed it.
Like he volunteered to do that. Like
What?
yeah. Some say he's gotten better and stronger after that. Yeah.
Wow.
So Monster Michael Todd, famous arm wrestler,
guy,
big fan of ours, really good friend. But I think he was doing something with him, right? And he was arm wrestling.
It was competition.
Yeah, just blew that thing right out. But Damon is a competitor at heart. He's doing like Highland Games now.
He got into the
puts
Highland
on
Games.
the kilt and like throws like a monster weight. I don't get how he does it.
Wasn't he playing rugby at one point too?
He used to play rugby.
Yep.
I mean, his story.
Served in the Australian military.
Yeah.
He's a cool.
Like you could sit down with this man for hours. On top of that, he's awesome at what he does in the marketing side of things.
And there's so many people that we work with that have stories like that. Like we got West Point grads, we got Marines who are scout snipers who are artists now, like Buddy Miko.
Rangers, all shapes and sizes.
Yeah. And then we got a lot of civilians too who just really appreciate those guys. We want to work with them. We want to, we want to look out for them, and we want to tell their stories. So
and I'm sitting here like I didn't do any of that. This is diversity hire.
That's the hardest thing about Nineline is everybody's like, so where did you serve? I'm like, listen, I'm cool, but I'm not that cool.
Yeah,
we just gonna let you know.
I sit there, I'm like, you did that?
Yeah.
Then what happened? Like, I'm like, I gotta get back to my job.
Yeah.
We need to continue this conversation. Like, I have a lot of questions.
Right.
It's so cool. So it's really cool to work with veterans.
Yeah. It's neat. They they include us in what they're doing.
Yeah, they really do. And people think because I have a long beard and whatever, I look like an operator, like a retired operator. I'm like, I'm not.
You give off that vibe.
I was like, no. If I looked like Damon, maybe with the beard, maybe like, but no, it's not me.
So I want to speak to one other thing that kind of takes people behind the curtain of Nineline a little bit, because I've been around the company culture enough. One of the things that I think is so cool is the families of your crew are so heavily involved in the purpose of the company. Yeah. And that is not something you see everywhere. I mean, wives are supporting you, husbands are supporting you, families, kids, like everyone is behind the mission, supporting the individuals that work there. And I don't think that that's common anymore. But it's really special.
Yeah, it's a mission focused mindset, right? Like when you make your why you do something the most important thing, it becomes a lot bigger than margin and profitability, right? Like my kids and my wife think it's so cool what I do, right? And you go somewhere and we work there every day, and then you meet somebody who's like wearing a Nineline shirt. Like I was getting my hair cut the other day and told the lady I work at Nineline. She's like, "Oh my God, you work at Nineline? That is so cool." But the reason for that is people get really excited about the overall mission and the values that we have, and the fact that we kind of get to work as like the hub of the wheel around a lot of the 2A community and veteran community, where we can make connections for people. Like we have, nonprofit foundations that if you're a veteran that loves to duck hunt, we've got people who do that. And those type of communities can impact someone in such a profound way. Because a lot of times those soldiers, when they come back, there's such a transition and identity period where finding other soldiers who shared those same experiences and now have the same common interests can save somebody's life.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, our families get really involved in it, and it's a very family environment too. Like Tyler encourages it. Like we get to see everybody's kids, right? Like
my kid was just in the office like last week.
Yeah.
She went to my desk and just started
it was the
like,
cutest thing ever.
Yeah, started playing with the
that was
keyboard
awesome.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, families.
I told
it's
Nate in a
always
few
been that
years
way.
he's fired. Like,
I was like, she's trained up.
She's
Yeah.
taking his spot.
Yeah.
She just sat right there with the little
Little
keyboard.
I was like,
And I was like, man,
can't tie her shoe, but knows how to do that. You know what I mean?
let's get this
Yeah.
girl a headset.
Yeah, right. Man,
Start making some calls.
Yeah, we see everyone's family coming in, and it's really cool. And everybody knows everybody's kids.
Yeah.
And our production manager, his kids were just there yesterday. You get to see them grow, and it's really cool. And
Yeah.
and then we do them it's not just like, hey, 9 to 5, we're done. We're on softball teams together.
That's right.
We do things together that ain't just
We got
business.
our big fantasy football
We have
league coming
fantasy
up.
football league coming up. I mean, we it's a community that's more than just the office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what helps our communication, because we know that person's heart. We know that person, we know their character outside of the building. And it's really cool. And I think that's what helps, when we do think tanks, like, oh, I have that idea, like, run with that. Or if I had an idea and John's like, yeah, you should definitely run with that, like a new avenue, a new customer base that we're not, necessarily going after or anything like that. Like I'm able to do that, can spearhead it because he trusts me, and vice versa, so somewhat trust. So.
What I've found is when you do courageous things, it attracts courageous people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're not afraid to step out there, and say, hey, I'll bear this burden, right? And not like, selling t-shirts, hats, and hoodies is a really hard thing, right? But the things we say, right? The values we stand for, people could attack that, right? And what we found is it just attracts very real people who kind of hold their ego with an open hand, and we get to know each other. We become like family with each other, and then that extends out to our broader community, like our customers like you. We're like, we care. We're selling shirts, hats, and hoodies, but the reasoning behind why we do all that, it's important, and it takes a little bit of courage. And if you're going to leave, a massive company to come work with us, there's going to be a reason behind that. And there's a certain level of dedication and belief that we all share, that what we're doing matters, right? Answering that phone call matters. Getting that print on the shirt matters. That's why we'll all go downstairs and box up shirts if we need to. We'll fold stuff coming off the dryer. We'll go down there and put labels on stuff. Like the other day, I saw our COO and our CFO down there, like putting stickers on bags late in the evening when everybody else was going, because they just cared enough about what the rest of our team was going to have to deal with the next day, that they went down there and helped.
Yeah.
So there's no job that's too big or too small for anybody. And that's, it builds that family environment.
It
for
does.
us.
No, I think that's phenomenal, and what you guys have been able to do through our partnership. When a t-shirt's sold with GOA on it, like that shirt that you're wearing has gone to fight for our no compromise mission to protect, defend, and restore the Second Amendment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that's a phenomenal thing for us. Lawsuits are expensive. Like I have to be honest with you guys.
Getting more and more expensive every day.
Yeah. And lawsuits are expensive, but also, lobbying. I mean, we're in 50 states. We're on the federal level. Like tyranny can happen at any level, and we have to be prepared for it. And so we've always appreciated you guys coming in and letting us take up some ink on a t-shirt and make some impact.
Well, we appreciate y'all letting us support you that way.
Exactly.
Like, it's important what you do, right? But not everybody has the same kind of vision for those kind of things, right? It can become a little more difficult sometimes to see, like, an apparel line, what are we going to do with that, right? Yeah. But just taking a minute and going, you know what? Our fan base, the people that support us and believe in our mission, they want to engage with it, right? Mm-hmm. They want people to know what GOA is about, because it's important to support it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, fighting for our rights, what could be more important? Right.
Yeah.
And without the Second Amendment, without our right to bear arms, like, we wouldn't have anything right now. Like that, it hinges around that. So I mean, it's an honor just to get to be a part of it because y'all could get T-shirts printed anywhere. Probably wouldn't have been as cool of designs. Probably not as good of material. But you could have, right?
Yeah.
To get to be that partner for you. It means a lot.
Where can people find you? Website, socials, all that fun jazz.
NinelineApparel.com, Facebook, Nine Line Apparel, Instagram, Nine Line Apparel, TikTok, all the socials, all the things.
If we're on it, it's Nineline Apparel.
Yeah. Or you could just email us, sales@Nineline Apparel, if you want to talk to me and Nate.
Yep.
That's how you get us.
The best way to get us.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, remember, you have to spell out the word nine.
You have to spell it out.
Line.
Yep. NineLineApparel.com. Yep. Nineline Apparel.
Yeah.
I mean, they just said Nine Line Apparel like 12 times, so if people don't know where to go.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
on you at this point. Yeah, we beat that horse to death.
Yeah. Nineline.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe. If you're listening on a podcast platform, please leave a 5-star review and make sure to follow us at The State of the Second. Second is spelled out, and we will see you next time.